How are we doing? Are we ready? Should we kick it off with being told what to do by the person who should tell you what to do?
Close your books. Start your engines.
Well, you know, there were a lot of people anticipating this afternoon, this celebration that we've got put together here. There are a lot of people that are not here, but I know they're streaming. So they're streaming from where? Back over there? So hi to everybody who's streaming in. If you hear a joke and it doesn't sound funny, you don't hear the laughter, it's because you don't get the microphone sound from the crowd. It's not that they're not funny jokes, it's just that the mics don't pick up their sound there. There's a lot of people that wanted to be here that couldn't be here tonight, and there were a lot of messages that came in. There were a lot of, of course there were emails, there were tweets that were out there, tweeting Mazel Tov to MSS on this event. But would you believe it, there were also a lot of telegrams that came in. No, really. There are a lot of telegrams. We need a little bit of assistance here, though. Rose, can I ask you to assist us with this? Harry, Ava, can I ask you guys to come up for a second? Leave the drinks behind. We have. Wait, where are the telegrams? Go get the telegrams. You guys, seriously. Don't drop the ball or the bags. Be very careful. It's heavy. Those are heavy. Those are very... Would you believe the number of telegrams we got? We got a lot of emails too, and they decided to print them up and put them into these two big bags. All right. How much time do we have? Let's start with number one.
I got one right here.
Let's grab it.
Now I got one right here. This is a pretty good one.
This
is number one. You told me once during an elevator ride in New York, but it's been a long time, so I need to know, do you still love me? I'm commissioning a new silly walk in honor of your new book, John Cleese. Wow. That was a good one.
I can't believe he got it.
He got it. I can't believe he did that.
I found one. This one's kind of torn. I heard about your book and that I am mentioned. Hope it is a great success. Thanks again for the ride over the hill. Jack, or maybe, and it's torn. I can't read it.
I can't read it. No.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it in the voice, but I'll try to do just a little bit. All right, hold on. Rabbi Shapiro, you are amazing. Your sermons are the best, and your book will be tremendous. Believe me. Best book since Art of the Deal. Really? Donald Trump.
The Donald.
Donald Trump.
Cool.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Okay, here, I got one right here. It's a good one. Wish I was still around so I could be at your book event. Can you beam me up a copy? May you live long and prosper. Leonard Nimoy.
Wow. He's a good draw, this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I got a cool.
A real telegram.
Wait.
A real telegram.
This book should finally end the great debate. Did people really love Rabbi Shapiro's sermons, or was it just that he had a great haircut? That's from Vito Capiello.
Oh, Vito Capiello and Company.
Let me get another one here. Oh, hold on. It's really heavy. Okay. Oh, I got another one? Wow, really? All right. It's from the law offices of James McGill. We represent the French Catholic Archdiocese. Since the death of Abbe Michael Quoist, we now own the rights to all of his published works. Please remit 18% of the proceeds of your new book to cover the 377 uses of his poem, Lord, I Have Time.
You never reserved the rights?
18%.
Well, that's how much. It's how many Rosh Hashanah?
Figure that one out.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay,
good one.
I got one right here.
Grab it from the back?
I got it right here. Somehow, 3 separate institutions sent the exact same telegram. It's amazing. They all say, "We miss you. What could we do to win back your business?" That's from the Glenbrook Ford Service Department, the Jackson Park Golf Course, and the Antonio y Cleopatra Cigar Company, makers of the Grenadiers.
Wow.
How long has it been?
Cool.
Long time.
Okay, I'll read one now.
You got
I
one?
got one?
Mr. Gower cabled you need cash. Stop. My office instructed to advance you up to
That's from
25,000.
the, that's from the wrong,
Hee-haw and Merry Christmas.
that's from the wrong thing.
What do you got?
Harry, what'd you do to me? Bro, that was from the wrong pile.
Oh, this is from a local. All right, wait. All right. Why wasn't it called Beth Elohim B'nai Jehoshua? B-E-B-J still sounds better to me. Seymour Weitzman. Really?
Get over it.
Come on. Enough. Give it up.
BJBE.
Let's read a couple
Done.
more and
Okay.
then move on.
Okay,
Almost done here?
I got one here. This is relevant to me as well. Your car will be ready on Friday. Kathy's Auto Service.
Kathy's Auto
Kathy's
Service.
Auto next door.
Did they send a telegram for
They
that?
sent a telegram. I don't know why. It wasn't a singing telegram.
All right, let's do I'll do one more and then we'll
Okay.
continue on. This is cool. You built quite a dynasty there in the north suburbs. Wish we could do the same here on the south side. What did we ever do to deserve such a great fan? Jerry Reinsdorf.
Well, we'll be back with some more telegrams in just a little while, but that's just a little kickoff to all of the great comments and kudos that are coming your way. We've got some speakers, we've got some music for you today, all in honor of Rabbi Mark Shapiro and the great book that you've got in front of you. It's been quite a labor to put together, and you're going to hear a lot more as we go. So where are we going from here? You're taking over from here, right?
Those are actual telegrams, by the way. It's good to be here with people you love, people you like, people you could maybe live without. I didn't mean that. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to have so many people who came out for this today. I'm going to get a chance to talk in a little bit, and you're going to hear from a bunch of people. But first, I want to start us off. I want to introduce somebody that most of you already know, who spent some time reading a lot of these sermons for the first time and wrote an introduction to the book. And it was wonderful to have her participate in this project. I want to introduce Rabbi Karen Kadar.
Clear the clutter.
Wow, welcome back to 901 Milwaukee. This is the BJBE that I inherited. Reading the book was the most incredible thing that I experienced because I wasn't here then. And to read the sermons and actually hear your voice, Mark, it was in my head as I was reading the sermons, which was an incredible thing. You're in for a great treat. I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to say at this point, and I think what I want to say is this. There are many rabbis in the room, cantors, educators. In some ways, our job is to take the stone out of the heart of people. When we take the stone out of our hearts and soften our hearts, we're open to curiosity, we're open to love, we're open to new ideas, we're open to different perspectives. We're not so weighed down. And Rabbi Shapiro has devoted his entire life to softening the heart and to making that mind curious as to ways that they could see the world. We just came out of the Torah portion where Jacob, who had a stone in his heart, was on a journey, just like all of our journeys. And something very special happened. He lay down to take a rest, and he put his head on a pillow, but the pillow was a stone. And so once removing that stone from his heart, it never went too far from him, but resting his head and falling asleep, he had a dream. And he dreamt that there were angels all around, and that there was access to those sparks of holiness. Look, over there, the ladder. And so after you remove the stone from the hearts of the people, your job has been to show them where the ladder is, because it's their journey, one rung at a time. And you were so brilliant, and still are, as you mentor and help me, knowing what's your journey and what somebody else's journey is. One rung at a time. And when Jacob woke, he said, "Oh, so God's in this place." So a lot of our congregants, Rabbi, have talked about the differences between the two of us. And one difference they always say is, I talk about God all the time. And you talked about action and doing things and making the world better. But actually, I think it's really the same thing. One rung at a time. Beit El, Beth Elohim. God is in this place. And it is our job to soften the heart and to show the way to the ladder. And with this, I'm going to end. For years, I have said to people who say to me, "This is an amazing congregation," I have said, it's just been my job not to mess it up. That the legacy that I have received, everything that people love about this place, Rabbi, is your legacy. The down-to-earth feeling, the beauty, the community as the center, the ability to connect people first. That's your legacy. And my job is not to mess that up, and when I do, to steer it back to your legacy. So personally speaking, as somebody who inherited this work from you, I am enormously grateful as the stone from my heart continues to be removed. And I continue to dream of the ladders, one rung at a time, that you have built for all of us. May you continue to go from strength to strength and from blessing to blessing. So you had some great assistant rabbis here, and it turned out that David Fine, who passed through this place, also passed through my life. We were colleagues as regional directors, and has flown in especially for this. Quite an honor and quite a tribute. So Rabbi Fine.
If you're worried, I've learned a lot in 23 years. I speak a lot better now than I did then. Wow. Thank you, Karen. Thank you all. I couldn't be who I am now, personally, professionally, were it not for Rabbi Shapiro and for all of you. Man nora hamakom hazeh, right? We said last week how awesome this place is. Boy, is that true. So I thought in speaking, would I start out the way as I do? Sometimes I do it explicitly, often it's implicitly. Kind of, how would Mark begin? And he might say something like, it's very fitting that the Torah portion this week is, and it is, Vayishlach Yaakov Melachim. Jacob sends out messengers. So how is this portion fitting? I'll give you 3 ways. The Rabbi Shapiro way would be give you the 3 clever words that you'd hold on to link. the messengers. Malachim are angels. Angels have a message, and those messages are carried through words. All right, Mark Shapiro sent out his angels. And just as Rabbi Kedar said, we are encountering them all the time. The second piece in this Torah portion, it's a reunion of Jacob and Esau, and it has been 20 years since they've seen each other. Well, it's been 23 years since, Hannah's shaking her head. It really is 23 years since I left BJBE and moved west. Right? I see a lot of people saying, oh my God. We've all aged a bit, it's true. It's like being at a high school reunion. Yes, and things carry over time. Those relationships, we know each other, we knew each other then, and we're still connecting now 23 years later. It's powerful to be here on this Shabbat. So many of us have known Mark Shapiro for so many years. Back, the stories I always hear, right? Back when BJBE was a round building there, was a roller rink upstairs? Is that what it became? Those kind of stories. And bowling alleys, right? So it's even more than 20. Later on, we're told the story, the third piece, the brothers get together. Yes, Ben, I look you right in the eye, but it's a different kind of brothers than the story of Jacob and Esau. But all the names of family, all those names are given. And that's the way it is for us, this web of relationships, this network, the way we're connected to each other, really by the soul, by the heart, even if it might have started with our mind. And thinking about the book, don't say Torah, be Torah. Those were the words of the Maggid of Mezrich. He lived 3 centuries ago in Poland. But our own Rabbi Mark Shapiro has been living this way over the course of our lives, right here on the north side of Chicago, as our teacher, our rabbi, our mentor, our guide, and our friend. He's been our Torah. And how does one pay proper homage to Rabbi Mark Shapiro? By recounting the ways, as Rabbi Kedar said, of removing that stone and reminding us of how to be our best. You'll look in your book, will you find stirring sermons? Absolutely. Will you find timeless and timely bulletin articles? You bet. Each one of us will look back and find a favorite. Some of those made us smile. Others made us squirm a bit. A good chunk of them referred to the White Sox. We still have this quote in our house. Somebody said, how can you be so childish about baseball? To which Mark said, if I can't be childish about baseball, what can I be childish about? If you are like me, you'll find yourself quoting Mark and continuing to be impressed by his wisdom. Mark delivered in his own inimitable way. You knew it, right? The smile, the laugh, the little shake, the lilt in his voice, the questions. Each one a dispatch to the soul, one of those malachim, an angel, a messenger. How are you? Who are you? Are you ready to face the deepest? Better yet, are you willing to face your deepest self and your tradition? Details may get hazy over time, but the genuine love and caring for his own family and for his congregation are as present today as they have been through decades of work and dedication. Each one of us, really everybody here knows, and we're proud to declare that Rabbi Mark Shapiro, we can say, has been my rabbi. And we know by listening, by observing, by really being still, he's been our Torah as well. And a postscript. If I was to deliver this note in true Mark Shapiro fashion, it wouldn't be in front of a podium. It'd be a simple black music stand, right? Right over there. The text itself wouldn't be on a printed sheet of computer paper. It'd be on a series of large file cards, right? They're the small, if you ever saw it, small stationery. We would know it was Mark Shapiro genuine because it would have typewritten crossouts, the XXXXX, the ellipses, the dot, 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 the carets. It would have all kinds of little handwritten comments and assorted personal touches. His writing, his Torah, the Torah that he delivered, was never about perfection. It's been about intellectual depth, integrity, honesty, and expressing his optimism in us, partnering with the ultimate to create a better world. Thank you. And thank you, Mark.
So while I was sitting there, I have been checking from my nephew Noah, who couldn't be here. He's performing elsewhere, but he's been checking out Twitter and checking out anything related to this, and he found something that he just forwarded to me, which is a little odd, but it's I think it needs to be read. It says, Dolly, Mazel Tov on new book. Leon and I knew you were right choice. Love to at Real Hannah Shapiro, at Close Your Books, at BJBE Sermons, at Go Original Rabbi, from at Valerie Rabin. She always was a modern woman. We all knew that. It's my pleasure to introduce to you our cantor emeritus, who, if you ask him, will tell you a story about how I used to play the cello. That's true. Cantor Corey Winter.
Winter has returned to Chicago. I brought some sunlight with me. I'm going to speak today about a sermon that Rabbi Shapiro gave in 1975, Returning to the Eternal. Can you hear me? I'm so sorry. If you've ever been to the Cantigny War Museum, this is the museum that was founded by the publisher of the Chicago Tribune. You see all kinds of famous Tribune headlines lining the walls, hallway to hallway. The one headline you don't see is Dewey beats Truman. This sermon that Rabbi chose to include in his book is not flattering to him. It's a very unpopular belief. Yet he wanted this included. It was okay to have Dewey beats Truman in his book. Rabbi was talking about honesty and integrity. That's the kind of person who would choose to have this sermon in his book. The 1975 Yom Kippur morning sermon, Returning to the Eternal, took a historic perspective on the idea that each of us is an arrow, choosing either to be affixed to a compass, in other words, being moral, or a weather vane, being pragmatic. I'd been BJB, I think I'm exploding my B's and P's. Am I right? Okay. I don't want to explode any B's or P's. I had been BJBE's cantor for only a few weeks when we embarked on our first High Holy Day services together in 1975. I suspect that he supported my becoming cantor for several reasons. I had a good voice. We had shared musical tastes. I was young and of the 60s generation. I was recommended by two of BJBE's founding members who were pillars of the congregation, children of whom sit right there. He liked my personality, I think, and my occasional irreverent sense of humor. Or no one else applied for the job. So, what's remarkable about this sermon and why I'm so glad that Rabbi included it, by the way, I have the original typewritten one right here, is that, yes, I didn't agree with it, but it is so superbly written and eloquent that I'm going to read a good portion of it for you. The Yom Kippur Machzor is tough. All read together, it says. We have sinned, we have transgressed, we have done perversely. There's no asterisk indicating that if you think you haven't done so badly this year, don't say it. Read together, it says, for the sin which we have sinned against thee by abuse of power and all the rest, with no opportunity for someone to argue in the margin about what is sin anyway, or just when did I abuse power? Yom Kippur is so righteous and unapologetically certain of what it is saying, especially about right and wrong. And we are so confused about right and wrong. Oh, we have learned to be confused, that is true. At least parents of teenagers have learned. But Mom, why is it wrong? I mean, if you can't even give me a good reason except that you think it's wrong. Or, Dad, if Chuck and I move in together, who are we hurting? Our kids seem to know all the college ethics texts by heart, far before they take the courses. You know, these books which always find circumstances in which a seemingly absolute principle is suddenly made to seem absurd. And then along comes Yom Kippur with its overwhelming smugness, its sense of having some absolute standards to impose on us and judge us. I would like to tell you today that I think Yom Kippur is right. I think it contains an old wisdom which many of us have lost or are fighting, but losing, skirmishes to maintain. I think that there is some absolute right and absolute wrong, and I think that much of the time one must stand absolutely for what one believes to be absolutely right or wrong. And as if someone told me this year, if this shows that I'm getting quite a bit more conservative in my middle years than I used to be, then move over and make room. I guess I'm saying this. You have a choice of being either a weather vane or a compass needle. Both are arrows, but the weather vane arrow moves to reflect the way the wind happens to be blowing at the moment. The compass needle decides which way north is and proceeds to point that way no matter how one turns the compass dial. Rather that each of us be the compass needle, even at the risk of being wrong about where north is. This may sound strange in a Reformed synagogue. As a matter of fact, the traditional complaint is that we are weather vane Jews, not compass Jews, that we go with all the winds of change. We abrogate laws and customs because the modern wind blows a certain way. They say that we are captives of convenience, and our only absolute principle is, do it the easy way, or do it the Gentile way. Of course this is not true. And if our traditional brethren learned as much about us as we try to learn about them, they would know it is not true. We both draw absolute lines. We just tend to draw them more sparingly and more democratically. Reform Judaism stands for Israel, absolutely. Reform stands for Shabbat observance, absolutely. though we try to draw lines which will include and encourage rather than exclude and alienate. We try to draw lines at reasonable minimums instead of elitist maximums. And often it is the Reformed synagogue which we find setting and straining towards higher standards in both Jewish education and Jewish self-respect. Witness the fact that Reformed synagogues require at least 4 years of Hebrew for bar and bat mitzvah, while many traditional synagogues will sell a bar or bat mitzvah for a sizable donation and 6 months basic training and that time-honored scholarly custom of memorizing a recording. Witness also the Israel Bonds Organization knows by this time that only Reform synagogues give them a hard time and refuse to make an appeal for bonds in the Yom Kippur service, as we at BJBE refuse. We as a movement do not stand for absolutely everything, but we do stand absolutely for some things. I think that you and I as individuals must do the same, must do more imitating of the compass than the weather vane. And I want to illustrate it further by talking about homosexuality. As an aside, Rabbi and I never discussed my personal life. The congregation needed someone to do a job. Rabbi Shapiro believed I could do it. At that time, I was definitely not in the closet. Franz and I were already together 7 years. We'll be together 49 in June. He's a saint. I just didn't think that my personal life was relevant, and it didn't even dawn on me to mention it to him. I guess it was just a case of don't ask, don't tell. Most Jews in Chicago then and now prefer to live in fairly separate insular communities of like-minded people. In the not-so-distant 1960s, Malvina Reynolds had written the song Little Boxes to describe this phenomenon. Many members of BJBE had fled neighborhoods in Chicago, notably Rabbi Shapiro's beloved South Shore, as black families moved in. Rabbi Shapiro was a dedicated and enthusiastic leader in the U.S. civil rights movement of the 60s. But synagogues in his old neighborhood disappeared as Jews feared living amongst others. BJBE appeared to be a monolithic community in the safe suburbs. Back to the sermon. I think that there is a difference between understanding the situation of a homosexual and thus being concerned with his or her rights. A difference between that and outright admission that it is, after all, a matter of taste and no one can judge it right or wrong. After all, it is much more than a matter of taste and personal preference. One test of the morality of an individual's action to ask, what would be the result of your action if everyone did it? That is a fair test that can be applied to the man who cheats on his income tax or fails to vote or waters his lawn when the town has a water emergency. And applying the test to the gay choice has a clear result. Homosexuality, if universal, would not only be the end of the family unit as we know it, but the end of most reproduction. This is not just a matter of taste and personal preference. Again, an aside. Homosexuality may have seemed to be an insidious threat of an unknown enemy from within. At that time, the widely held belief in the medical establishment was that sexuality was environmentally determined and therefore a matter of human choice. Using that reasoning, then, it might have been relatively easy for a homosexual to entice heterosexuals to engage in homosexual behavior. So now, at Yom Kippur, knowing that one has the power to choose his or her sexuality, perhaps a man or woman could decide to repent and change sexual orientation on that very day after hearing those very words from the rabbi. But as the years progressed and as medical research advanced, it was scientifically proven and generally acknowledged that homosexuality is genetically determined. Therefore, it couldn't be a contagious disease. In fact, it ceased to be considered a disease at all. Let's finish the sermon. Homosexuality clearly challenges another value which I, for one, consider absolute. It effectively separates human love from the act of reproduction. The person one loves in gay society is ipso facto not one with whom you can create new life. I believe that the best parents are people who love one another and are willing to extend that covenant and love to a child. And that is impossible given gay society. And I think it is for these reasons that traditional Judaism has been dead set against all forms of the gay life. Not because males who said so were so afraid of their own homosexual impulses that they projected the fear into hostility, but rather because God's creation, including human physiology, was good and should be used as clearly intended. This is not to say that gays should not have every legal right to equal opportunity, access to public benefits, and freedom from harassment. Or harassment. Sorry. It is to say only, but clearly, that homosexuality runs counter to some very important absolute values. I know that some of what I am saying is just the obvious, but it appears to me that the obvious is just what is being overlooked in most discussions about gay liberation. And maybe the most obvious thing needs also to be said. The fact is that homosexuality is anti-biology and anti-nature. Like it or not, biology sometimes dictates destiny and always limits destiny. If a group of people decides it will not eat and digest food in the normal fashion, but will exist completely on an IV for life, we might defend their right to live that way, providing it doesn't harm others. But we must also say that it is unnatural and neurotic, for it indicates rejection of our bodies the way they are, as neurotic as an inability to accept my father as he is, or my child as he is. I don't know if my absolutes coincide with yours, but that isn't the issue. That you be inspired by the directness of Yom Kippur, inspired to take an absolute stand when you feel it, not just when you can prove it. That is the issue. If you think that cheating is wrong, stand by that. If you think that promises must be kept, if you believe that parents are entitled to respect just as children are to space to grow, stand up for it. You know, I really only look at the stars in the summertime. Maybe you're the same way. It takes the open fields of Union Institute to get me to examine the evening sky. And as the constellations move across the summer sky, as the Great Bear dips slowly toward the horizon in late August, and Draco twists his dragon tail, and the chair of Cassiopeia begins to fall over backward. On seeing this, one is all the more grateful to find Polaris, the North Star, around which everything turns. It is good to see the constellations move. It is exciting to know that we too in our galaxy are moving through space. But it is comforting to know that the North Star always shows north. It is not so bad to be, at least some of the time, like that star. Better, I think, than the weather vane, which can only tell us which way the hot air is blowing today. Imagine Rabbi Shapiro's surprise when immediately after the service, I asked him quite urgently to speak with him in his office. My recollection is that there in his office between services, I revealed my sexual orientation to him and offered to resign that minute. He was stunned. Right? How could there possibly be... What did I miss? Not anymore. How could there possibly be a gay person at his homogeneous congregation? His immediate response was, this is going pretty well so far. Why don't you stay for a while and we'll see how things work out. For my part, for my outraged part, I insisted that he invite someone to speak to rebut his views. What neither of us knew was that there was a family in our congregation dealing with homosexuality at that very moment. One of the children in that family had come out to the parents just the night before Kol Nidre. Shell-shocked, they came to services the next day for spiritual solace and were confronted with that sermon. But Rabbi's views evolved. Hannah and he and Franz and I socialized occasionally, and I think we enjoyed each other's company. What was previously unknown and unfathomable to him became real, and I surmise a lot more comfortable. Also, I suspect, he got over that procreation hurdle when he considered with alarm the possibility of my foisting offspring on an unsuspecting world. Ultimately, Rabbi Shapiro altered his views on homosexuality 180 degrees. Perhaps as a gesture of repentance toward the above-mentioned family, he supported the establishment of a PFLAG chapter at BJBE, PFLAG, Parents and Friends of Lesbian and Gay People. This guy has really walked the walk. A couple of times in the past, when Rabbi and I have been sharing a table with others at an event and the word sermon comes up in a conversation, he'll begin unsolicited, "Ooh, I remember a sermon I gave a few years ago," referencing that Yom Kippur morning sermon, and again, publicly and unnecessarily apologizing. Very few people, let alone we clergy, atone so honestly and completely in word and deed. This quality that he possesses is only one reason why I consider Rabbi Mark Shapiro to be a Lamed Vavnik, one of only 36 truly righteous people who walk the earth at any one time. Rabbi Shapiro, believe me, is no weather vane. It just happened that in 1975, he bought a bum compass. I've bought a couple of bum compasses myself, and I'm pretty sure that he and I are not the only ones. Thank you.
How's that for an act to follow? Good thing I really don't have to, but my brother Steve will be in just a moment. But there's another telegram that just popped up over here, fell down. Just a quick one in between here. Surprising, but all right. So it says, You always got the cream of the crop among Maine Township Jews. Please send us a copy of your book so that we can finally understand why, from Rabbi Lawrence Charney and from Rabbi Jay Karzan. Ask one of the old timers. It's the other locals. You'll get it. All of the words in the book that you're going to have the opportunity to read over the next coming days and weeks, they were all out there. They were all out there for years. We heard them ourselves, and then they were there and they were gone for the most part. Luckily, there were some people that held on to those, but for most of us, those words were just out there until now. And as you get the chance to read these words, it's really impressive because they'll speak to you again just like they're already speaking to me again as I reread them. They wouldn't be out there today in your books in your lap right now if it wasn't for the effort of my brother Steve Shapiro. The effort that he put in not only to do this from afar to get the book put together and organized, but to really be the backbone behind this event coming together. To do that, living here would not be an easy thing to do. To do it coming back and forth between here and the Twin Cities was a great effort. And I'd like to introduce him to come up and say a few words. Steve.
Thanks, Al. Thanks, Corey. Almost every word that Corey said, by the way, is in the book. So you're holding on to it, so you can read it at your leisure. We're online. Say hi. Everybody can wave now, just for a sec to the people online. They can't see you, so don't worry. But I just got a note that Jerry Seinfeld is watching. He says, I have an idea for a new show, Rabbis in Cars Giving Sermons. Are you interested? He says that he would happily pick you up in a powder blue Ford LTD or a cherry red Ford Fiesta, one or the other. So we are online, and I wanted to publicize that the other day. Those of you who are on Facebook know that I spent quite a bit of time on Facebook putting the word out about the book and about the event, letting people know. There actually is, my father's not on Facebook. He doesn't go near a computer if he can avoid it. But there is a group on Facebook that is called I Am a Jewish Leader, and Mark S. Shapiro was my rabbi. There are about 100 people in that group. And by the way, Ira Wise started it a few years ago. Ira, I think, is watching. Hi, Ira. It was a few years ago that he started that group on Facebook, and it's a closed group. You have to apply. Somewhere along the line, I got the keys to let people in. So if you want to be in that group, you can put in a request, and I promise that I will consider it. Anyway, I was putting up the post, and I was going to let people know that they could actually stream this event. People that were Leah Hers in Florida, the Pinks that are also in Florida right now, really wanted to be here and couldn't be here, and could we possibly stream this? And so I was about to put it up, and I put the note onto Facebook, and I hit send, and I got a note back that says, Facebook refuses to post this. I had put down that you could go to bjbe.org, and they wouldn't post it. And I looked back, and through the wonderful world of autocorrect, we all have been there, the website had somehow become babe.org, B-A-B-E.org. So if you're watching online and looking for babe.org, you are in the wrong place. I wanted to talk a little bit about how this idea for a book came to happen. I've been in public relations for a long time, and I've published pieces of work for other people, for clients, for colleagues. And so it was a couple of years ago that my dad got the idea that maybe he'd like to write his memoirs. And he sat and he spent some time writing his memoirs, and I encouraged him to do a little of writing, and we'll get them typed up because he wrote them by hand, which can't be read by anybody. And we looked at what he wrote, and he had written about 30 pages, and he was kind of written out. And then we thought about what we might do with them. And I tried to do the math. He started in the rabbinate in 1958. In 1962, he joined B'nai Jehoshua. In 1965, they merged with Beth Elohim. He moved up here to the north suburbs. It wasn't until 1984 that Erwin Zeplowitz joined as rabbi, which meant that in that range there, he was the only one speaking on a regular basis, well over 1,000 sermons, maybe 1,500. He had all of these things that he had done, and he was a very prolific writer, a very prolific communicator. He didn't have to do more writing because all of this wonderful stuff was already there. And that Facebook group that I am a Jewish leader, and Mark S. Shapiro was my rabbi, they've been wanting to see something like this for ages. They had been clamoring. They've been posting some of their favorites. Somebody said, my favorite is I Love You, which, by the way, is in the book. Somebody's was Yachdav, also in the book. Other people talked about Sacred Field of Dreams, which I believe you're going to hear a part of in a little bit. Everybody had their favorites, and they made their way into this book. This stuff was already written, and so instead of having to write memoirs, what we did was we spent some time reading and rereading not 1,000 sermons, but certainly the high holiday ones and some other favorites. And what we came down with was a group of 39 sermons. Actually, it was 38 until Corey and I talked, and he said, why don't you include that one, Return to the Eternal, as well, and I'll write a companion piece for it. And that actually is one of my favorite parts of the book. So we have 39 sermons. It's not a short book. This is 336 pages, I think, with all the notes in it. And it really is just a portion of what we had. My idea then, as I thought about this, was that if we were going to publish his words, I thought about a story that I learned in reading Honey from the Rock by Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, which is the idea that God works in our lives almost like a jigsaw puzzle, that we are born with the jigsaw puzzle, and we spend our lives putting those pieces of the puzzle together. And we get to a certain point where we have half of the picture, and we have another stack of pieces that don't seem to fit the picture that we're putting together. And we learn that these belong to other people's jigsaw puzzles. And other people have the pieces to our jigsaw puzzle, and we go through our lives sharing the pieces and getting the pieces back. And so I believed fundamentally that just to show his words in the book was not going to do the justice to what we were trying to do, because it equally had to include stories about how people were moved by those words, so stories that how people were inspired. And I remember and I put out a call and I sent some people a note saying, would you consider writing something for the book? And the first piece of writing that I got back was from Barbara Erlin, who was my Sunday school teacher. And she wrote something wonderful. And then I think Marla Subeck-Spanger, who couldn't be here today, but I hope you're watching, Marla, also wrote something. And I showed them to my dad, and he looked at them. And he didn't want them to go in the book. He says they sounded a little bit like eulogies. And also he said, who's going to buy a book that has, it's going to make him look so vain that there are all these, that we're publishing a book that has all these things, nice things that people are going to say about him. And yet it took a little bit of convincing from me to say, this is going to make the book better. This is going to make the book more wonderful. This is going to make your words stand out for people in a stronger way. And I believe that the books that you're holding in your hands have accomplished that in some way. So, and I'm grateful that the year before this, the high holidays before this, Rabbi Stoller, Brian Stoller, mentioned in a high holiday sermon that we shouldn't wait until after people die to say nice things about them, but we should do it while they're still lucid and here, and that we can share it with them. So I'm glad that we were able to do this in a timely way so that the words are able to resonate for all of us, in particular for my dad, and that as he has given so many of us pieces of our own jigsaw puzzle, we were able to give him back some of his pieces as well. There are a lot of people to thank. I want to do this quickly, but this project came together because some people in particular decided that they shared the vision and they wanted to do it. The Rabbi Kadar and the BJBE Board of Directors put up some seed money when we first got the idea that got us off the ground. The Splansky family and Roy and Karen and the family of David Jacobson from Chicago Jewish Funerals also came forth with some funds that enabled us to do this first printing so that we were able to handle it financially and realistically that we had an amount of the support that we needed for this project. And the other thing that I want to say is how grateful we are to the people that contributed to this book. Rabbi Kadar wrote the introduction. My uncle Ben Shapiro, my dad's brother, wrote a foreword. And the shulayim, which is a Hebrew word that literally means footnotes or side notes or sidebars, Rabbi Kadar suggested that word, are interspersed throughout, and we're grateful to Barbara Irwin Keller, Marla Subeck-Spanger, Phyllis Steiner, Eric Shore, who wrote the only poetry for the book, Rini Dickman, Debbie Kays Bravo, Aryeh Azriel, Roy Splansky, Gary Zola, Amy Memes Fowler, a lot of people who are here, David Jacobson, David Fine, thank you so much for coming in, David, Erwin Zeplowitz, Alan Rabishaw, Dan Rabishaw, Nancy Landsman, Patty Frazen, Debbie Gardner-Helbron, Leah Hers, Ira Wise, Corey, my brother Elliot, my mother, the lovely Hannah Shapiro, all contributed, and we're grateful for all that. On the editorial side, thank you, everybody, for contributing. On the editorial side, my daughter, Natalie Fine Shapiro, who you will hear from in a little bit, drew the task of, as Rabbi Fine said, deciphering those notes, because all of these were typewritten and had to be made digital. They had to be re-entered and retyped, and she was the first one who, and it meant that she was the first one who really read all of the sermons that we chose. She typed them, she drew that task, she did a wonderful job. Our proofreaders were Harvey Erlin, Ben Shapiro, Erwin Keller, Sandy Holla, Marla Subeck-Spanger, and they did outstanding work. I also wanted to let people know that I had conversation with Dr. Gary Zola. He wrote something for the book, and he asked me to do something for him, and I said, what is it? And he said, we want them all. We want all of your dad's sermons. And so after this process, we will be taking all of the sermons that he wrote, sending them out to Cincinnati to the American Jewish Archives, where they will be there for everybody in the future of whatever to study until global warming beams down on us. I also wanted to thank Arlene Maisel from the synagogue for really helping bring this off. Thanks, Arlene. It was really a pleasure to work with you. The whole office staff really has pitched in and gotten excited about this. Elaine, Sarah, Erica, Chime, everybody who I'm not mentioning, Larissa. This book is going to be sold on Amazon, and Larissa, the temple accountant, she is a handful, and she has been working with Amazon to navigate the sale of these books, and they will go on sale there, I believe, December 20th. I also want to thank all the clergy, the rabbis, and the cantors, the educators here and beyond who supported the idea. And Also to all the people who, in the process, as they heard about this, told us how excited they were about the project, because it really kept us going. It was a long project. It took 2 years to really pull off. There is one special person that I wanted to thank. When I put the manuscript out to the proofreaders, I said that there would be a prize for the person that did the best proofreading job. And I have a prize here, and I want to let you know that Sandy Hollab, you won the prize by a dangling participle over Harvey Erlin. And I'd like you to come up here, and I'd like to present you with something. You didn't know this was going to be happening. There's a piece of art that has been in our family for a long time, and it's one of the most talked about pieces of art of anything that my family owns. That includes their children, but not their grandchildren, Sandy.
That I get.
It's a chuppah scene. And there's a story behind it. But this special chuppah scene has a homing device that always returns to my folks' house on Buckthorn Circle, no matter how many times they've tried to give it away. I know that you live in a relatively small apartment, and this is fairly large. I want you to know that Eric and Alyssa have agreed to put it in their house.
Oh, thank you.
And if you want to truly make this a memento, I'm giving you a Sharpie pen, and I'm telling you that all the members of my family would happily sign this for you while they're here. And that includes my cousins, Debbie and Joel, I'm sure, and Rini, Alyssa, and Susie Dickman, who I think this just spent about 12 years in their house as well. Thank you for all your work and all your support on this project, Sandy. You can carry it or you can leave it here.
Now that you don't give me a microphone, but I just want to say that this was the most incredible experience for me. One of the most meaningful things that I have ever done, and one of the most generous experiences provided by the Shapiro family, who I know and I love very much. Thank you.
I want to introduce two people that I love and one that I like. In no special order. Cantor Corey Winter, my daughter Natalie Fine Shapiro, and also accompanying them will be my uncle Ben Shapiro.
It's a most unusual day. Feel like throwing my worries away. As an old native-born Californian would say, it's a most unusual day. It's a most unusual sky. Not a sign of a cloud passing by. And if I want to sing, throw my heart in the ring. It's a most unusual day. There are people meeting people. There is sunshine everywhere. There are people greeting people, and a feeling of spring in the air. It's a most unusual time. I keep feeling my temperature climb. If my heart won't behave in the usual way, well, there's only one thing to say. It's a most unusual, most unusual, most unusual day. Let's get real. There are people meeting people. It's a blizzard everywhere. There are people greeting people and a feeling of sleet in the air. It's a most unusual time. I keep seeing the snow level climb. If my heart won't behave in the usual way, well, there's only one thing to say. It's a most unusual, most unusual, most unusual day. I haven't heard Natalie sing for maybe about 20 years. Boy, is she good. Enjoy. Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, right away.
Hi, I wanted to say a few words quickly. I'm Natalie, Mark's granddaughter. And as my dad mentioned to you, I had the task of typing up all the sermons for this book. Many of you may remember me as a little girl coming to visit from Minneapolis. And I have many memories of sitting in the sanctuary and watching my grandpa up on the bema delivering his sermons. But I was really too young to absorb any of them. So when I typed them for this book, I was really reading them for the first time. And what struck me most was the pride that I felt. I'm proud to have a grandfather with such a big heart and such moral integrity, not only in his faith, but in social and political issues that I really value and that I think really ring true today. So, one thing that I know brings my grandpa pride is when I sing. So I'm going to do that for you now. When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow. Why, oh, why can't I? Thank you. I'm going to do a couple more for you if that's all right.
Let's do it.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me, how the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way, and forevermore that's how you'll stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
So people wonder, what was that everyday relationship between Rabbi and Cantor when Rabbi Shapiro and I were working together? And I really have to say, it was a bed of roses. So we wanted to have a song that really epitomized our day-to-day relationship. And so Natalie will join me in that. You ready?
Yep.
You say either,
And you say either,
you say neither,
and you say neither,
either,
either,
neither.
neither.
Let's call the whole thing off. You like potato,
And you like potato,
you like tomato,
and you like tomato,
potato,
potato,
tomato.
tomato.
Let's cut the whole thing off. But oh, if we call the whole thing off, then we must part.
And oh, if we ever part, then that would break my heart.
So if you like pajamas,
And you like pajamas,
I'll wear pajamas.
and give up pajamas.
For we know we need each other, so we better call the calling off. Let's call the whole thing off. You say laughter,
And you say laughter,
you say after,
And you say after,
laughter,
laughter,
after.
after.
Let's call the whole thing off. You like vanilla,
You like vanilla,
you sarsaparilla,
you sarsaparilla,
vanilla,
vanilla,
chocolate.
strawberry.
Let's call the whole thing off. But oh, if we call the whole thing off, then we must part.
And oh, if we ever part, that would break my heart.
So if you go for oysters
And
and
you go for oysters
I'll order oysters.
and cancel the oysters.
For we know we need each other, so we better call the calling off. Let's call the whole thing off. What you notice often about, or what I noticed often about Rabbi's sermons were that he always did put the most amount of meaning into the least amount of words. He was really good at that. So I picked an aria that is just that for tenors. It's one of the shortest arias ever, thank God. And it expresses the most. It means nobody's going to sleep tonight. Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in me, il nome mio nessun saprà, no, no, sulla tua bocca lo dirò quando la luce ed il mio bacio scioglierà il silenzio che ti fa mio. Di lei guarote tramontate stelle, tramontate stelle, all'alba vincerò. Vincerò, Thank you. Thanks very much. So, I just thought we should have some cantorial music in this concert. So, well, actually, it's not by a cantor. It's by the son of a cantor. But everybody's used to this. It has a little nigun in it.
Whoops.
Can you manage that? Let's start with that. La 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 la. Again. La 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 la. Lydia, oh Lydia, say have you met Lydia? Oh Lydia, the tattooed lady. She has eyes that folks adore so, and a torso even more so. Lydia, oh Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh Lydia, the queen of tattoo. On her back is the Battle of Waterloo. Beside it the wreck of the Hesperus too. And proudly above waves the red, white, and blue. You can learn a lot from Lydia. Let's hear it. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. She can give you a view of the world in tattoo if you step up and tell her where. For a dime you can see Kankakee or Paris or Washington crossing the Delaware. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Lydia, oh Lydia, say have you met Lydia? Oh Lydia, the tattooed lady. When her muscles start relaxing, up the hill comes Andrew Jackson. Lydia, oh Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh Lydia, the champ of them all. For 2 bits she will do a mazurka in jazz with a view of Niagara that no artist has. And on a clear day you can see Alcatraz. You can learn a lot from Lydia. Okay, la la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Come along and see Buffalo Bill with his lasso. Just a little classic by Mendel Picasso. Here is Captain Spaulding exploring the Amazon. Here's Godiva, but with her pajamas on. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Here is Grover Whalen unveiling the Trilon. Over on the West Coast we have Treasure Island. Here's Nijinsky doing the rumba. Here's her social security number. Okay, la la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Lydia, oh Lydia, say have you met Lydia? Oh Lydia, the champ of them all. She once swept an admiral clear off his feet. The ships on her hips made his heart skip a beat. And now the old boy's in command of the fleet. For he went and married Lydia last time. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. The cantor's son was Harold Arlen, who also happened to be the composer of Over the Rainbow. Last song. My favorite patriotic song. No joke. No joke. What is America to me? A name, a map, the flag I see, a certain word, democracy. What is America to me? The house I live in, a plot of earth, a street, the grocer and the butcher and the people that I meet, the children in the playground, the faces that I see, all races, all religions, that's America to me. The place I work in, the worker at my side, the little town or city where my people lived and died, the howdy and the handshake, the air of feeling free, the right to speak my mind out, that's America to me. The things I see about me, the big things and the small, the little corner newsstand and the house a mile tall, the wedding and the schoolyard, the laughter and the tears, the dream that's been a-growing for 240 years. The town I live in, the street, the house, the room, the pavement of the city, or a garden all in bloom. The church, the school, the temple, the million lights I see, but especially the people, that's America to me. The house I live in, the friends that I have found, the folks beyond the railroad and the people all around, the worker and the farmer, the sailor on the sea, the folks who built this country, that's America to me. The house I live in, my neighbors, white and black, the people who just came here, or from generations back, the town hall and the soapbox, the torch of liberty, a home for all God's children, that's America to me. The words of old Abe Lincoln, of Jefferson and Payne, of Washington and Jackson, and the tasks that still remain, the little bridge at Concord where freedom's fight began, and Gettysburg and Midway, and the story of Bataan. The house I live in, the goodness everywhere, a land of wealth and beauty with enough for all to share. The house that we call freedom, the home of liberty, and a promise for tomorrow, that's America to me. And a promise for tomorrow, that's America to me.
It's time to hear a sermon. He needs a break, so we'll give him a break just for a minute. Talk amongst yourselves.
You got all those telegrams you can, there's bags full back there. Come on, Marina, that bag's full back there.
I would like to just recognize some of the people that are here that have contributed to the book. I thank them, but I thanked the people in an entire group, and I know that besides Rabbi Kedar and Ben Shapiro, I saw Phyllis Steiner here. Phyllis Steiner's here somewhere. Eric Shore. Rabbi Rini Dickman is in here somewhere. She contributed to the book. Did I see that Roy walked in? Is Roy here? Hey, good to see you. He just came in from Boston. He flew in from Boston, and boy, are his arms tired. Sorry. Rabbi Amy Memes Fowler, I saw walk in somewhere. I didn't get to say hi to you, but welcome. Rabbi Fine, of course, you got to hear from. Rabbi Dan Rabishaw is here. His brother Alan also contributed. There are two Rabbi Rabishahs. That doesn't seem fair, but there are. And Rabbi Cantor, Nancy Landsman, Nancy Weinberg Landsman. Nancy was my youth group president when I was a freshman. And Phil Moss I saw here. He was our advisor back then. I think I saw Patty Friesen walk in. Patty was here. And, of course, Corey and my brother Elliot. And, again, my mother. We're going to hear two sermons. We're going to hear an excerpt from my brother David Judah Shapiro. We're going to hear from two sermons. We're going to hear an excerpt from Sacred Field of Dreams that was delivered in 1989. And we're hearing an excerpt from a Rabbi Reacts column that was from August of 1998. That was the title, I think, when Sandy Hollab, when you were always the editor of the Bulletin, you had the idea once for a Purim edition that you wanted to do where you would call the column "The Rabbi Overreacts." I remember that was one of them. Sit tight, and MSS will be here just a minute.
This is real. Yes. Is it working? Hello.
Think it's working?
This is faith. You applaud before the sermon. Strange. Okay. Now, let's see. I had some White Sox Warriors. Well, I think eventually this will be fine. I think, huh? One mic. That sounds good. What do you think? Okay. Now I have to tell you, there were two possible sermons I would reenact for you, and one shorter and one longer. The longer is the one about Field of Dreams, but that's in the book. So if you want to invite me over sometime, I will do that one. I'm going to do a slightly shorter one, which is a column. By the way, how do you like my family? How do you like this family? Talented, funny, helpful, terrific, terrific. Hannah and I have led BJBE Israel trips since 1977. Our custom has always been to bring our own Reform prayer books and have Shabbat services as we stand in our own circle in the large plaza in front of the Western Wall. Can you visualize this as I'm saying this? Okay. We don't go too close to the wall because that marked off area is designated as an Orthodox synagogue. And our group of men and women would be an in-your-face provocation if we stood there. So we always choose a spot in the middle of the plaza, close enough to see and feel the wall. Not touch it, but feel it. Yet appropriately far from the designated synagogue area. Hannah and I have always done it this way. We don't do it to provoke a confrontation. We do it because the words of our Reform Siddur take on an extraordinary new overtone when spoken in sight of that wall, overtones which people can take home with them to BJBE worship. And very often one would find in the midst of the Siddurim, one with the notation used by BJBE members, such and such Shabbat and date. Occasionally we've been heckled by a few of our least tolerant brothers and sisters who frequent the wall and the plaza. Once we had to compromise and move back 15 feet just for the sake of peace. I thought it might be less easy on this trip that we're talking about. Large groups of non-Orthodox Jews on official missions have recently been physically harassed or been restricted to the farthest corner of the plaza while holding a service. Orthodox strength in the present government at that time has made some of them even more aggressive against us. And our increasing presence in Israel has also made some even more upset. So, we got as far as V'shamru with no disturbance. Much of what follows is based on what others in our group later told me. I was just trying to concentrate on the service and not look beyond our circle of prayer. So I saw little. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder and a voice said, "Who is the group leader here?" I ignored whoever it was. Didn't sound like anybody I knew. It turned out to be a Jerusalem policeman assigned to keep the peace in the plaza. Our Shelley Case, stepped between me and the policeman and told the policeman, but pointed at me, "You can't disturb him now, he's praying." That worked till about Yismachu. And now I could hear the commotion near us. The policeman's two-way radio crackled. Loud shouts of "Chutza! Get out of here!" were coming from about 25 of these less tolerant Orthodox men and boys gathered quite close to us now. A lady yelled at Natalie Cohn, telling her, "Get out of here!" Normally gentle Natalie lifted her voice to respond. Stop bothering us. We're having a service here. I don't think Natalie ever said that back in the synagogue of BJBE, but we're having a service here. The noise got louder, and we began to pray louder. The policeman stepped into the middle of our circle. I couldn't continue to ignore him. He said, "You can pray here, but only if the women stand on one side and the men on the other. That's the law here." I was prepared to ignore the request, knowing that it wasn't the law, and being more afraid of Our Lady's reaction in our group than of the policeman. Oh, your house is like that too. But Hannah had sized up the situation and urged us to do it, men on one side, women on the other. She saw that 4 policemen and a few soldiers who had joined them would protect us, she was sure, if only we gave in on that one point. And she was right. We separated men from the women while keeping the circle whole and continued the service. And then we saw that our group of 22 was increasing in size. By the silent prayer, we had 3 minutes of that being yelled at us. We had more than 50 people standing with us. Who were they? Other American Jews and Israelis who were encouraging us, who encouraged us by saying, "Ignore them. You should be standing here. We're not all like those." Before Aleinu, I think I said something like this to our group. Please do not judge Orthodox or traditional Judaism by these folks. Torah teaches love of the Jewish people. Most traditional Jews know that even better than we do. We are not here to hate the Orthodox just because they have an intolerant fringe group of crazies here. I don't know if I convinced them or even you, but it's the truth. We finished Aleinu, said Kaddish, and sang Ein Keloheinu with great fervor. We had become much more numerous and louder than our detractors. We felt good, maybe too good. But we had only done what we always have done, to pray in sight of the Western Wall, maintaining self-respect without acting confrontational. If that spiritual act was taken as a political statement, so be it. So be it. The service ended. The people who had joined us introduced themselves all around. We milled and kissed Shabbat Shalom and couldn't stop talking about how it had felt. The original policeman approached me. He wanted a private talk. We went off a few paces, he and I. Hannah thought they were going to take me away. Are you the rabbi of this group? Yes, I'm Mark Shapiro. What is a Mark Shapiro? It's my name. Okay. You understand I just have to do my job. I have to keep peace here. I understand completely. Thanks for your help, I said. Thanks for your help. And he said, have a good group here in Israel and think well of us and come back again soon. And he initiated the handshake. So we got in cabs and went to our hotel for Shabbat dinner. A tour just as good as all the others, but with this time just a little bit more exciting. Amen. Good, Steve. You know how proud I am of all of you, but all of these. By the way, and he doesn't always get the covered because his brother is the rabbi, but my only brother, and I am his only brother. And he is quite a guy, and he does so much for me and miss this family. And I just can't say enough about it. Well, I love you. I love you.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Okay, now where's he going to sit for this?
So everybody's going to get a chance to schmooze with him.
What about, can he sit on the stool? Right here. Why doesn't he sit on the stool? What a great idea.
While they're getting ready, I just want to let you know that he's gonna move to the back of the room. Everybody got a number, and you can write down what you'd like to have inscribed in the book. You get a minute to schmooze with him. We're going to try to move the line through as quickly as we can. We're getting ready for the closing hymn here, so as soon as we wrap up, we'll move back to the back and begin the signing line. You ready?
You ready?
So this has been very much of a trip down memory lane. And apropos of memory lane, we're going to sing a song that goes something like this. Actually, it goes exactly like this. Hit it, Corey. Thanks for the memories of sermons that you gave. Reviews were always rave. They guided us, they chided us, and now we have them saved. So thank you so much.
And thanks for the other things. Your always steady hand and how you had it planned to take us and to make us the top jewel in the land. We thank you so much. Now we've got this compilation, a treasure for our congregation.
Will provide so much edification for all to read, your words to heed. Yes, thanks for that sermon time.
You were so erudite.
On every Shabbos night,
you told us,
you cajoled us,
you taught us what is right. We thank you
and love you so much.
Okay,
all right, everybody,
stand up. Here we go.
Thanks for the memories of sermons that you gave. Reviews were always rave. They guided us, they chided us, and now we have them saved. So thank you so much.
And
thanks for those other things. Your always steady hand and how you had it planned to take us and to make us the top jewel in the land. We thank you so much. Now we've got this compilation, a treasure for our congregation. Will it provide so much edification for all to read, your words to heed. Yes, thanks for that sermon time. You were so erudite on every Shabbos night. You told us, you cajoled us, you taught us what is right. We thank you and love you so